Google, Meta, Amazon, Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia. Buy one, short one for 2026.
Google, Nvidia.
9 products do over 100 million in revenue.
Yeah, JFC.
And so we're going to start with number 1, the most important part of all of our ecosystem, the founders. Founder of the year for 2025. Who would you have as your founder of the year?
I know what the product of the year is. The product of the year is Claude 3.5 or 3.7. Without this, we have no vibe coding. Without this, we have no Lovable, no Vacations to Greece, no Replit, no Cursor that really works, no Gamma. None of these products, many of which existed for years, did not work until we could debate when it was. They worked with Claude 3.5 at the end of last year, but they weren't great until 3.7 and then 4 this year. And 4 changed our lives. And you may not use it. You may use the outputs. You may use Agent Force, which it's not all that. You may use Cursor, which is still 90% powered by Anthropic. You may use Gamma or Replit or, again, Lovable for Harry. None of these products we use, this changed the way we deliver AI inside of products. It's not just coders. It changed everything else. So do I give Dario credit as CEO? I don't know. I mean, I don't love all those warnings about how 90% of the world's going to be unemployed in several weeks. But he delivered, right? So I think you got, without question, that it is the software of the year. Do you give the CEO credit for the product of the year? Maybe not. I'm going to anyway, though.
Rory?
Damn, because, God, I hate agreeing with Jason, but I'll just take a while to get there. Because first of all, he didn't answer the original question, the whole product of the year. Focus on the founder of the year. Anyway, look, one, I'm going to start with Harry. I'm going to be grumpy today because I hate these events. I hate these kind of wrap-up things. I think they're bullshit. So I will be grumpy the whole time, and I make no bones about that. Also doing 2 of them in the 1 week.
When we were waiting for you, and I'm like, Rory, he goes, fuck off.
It's a second. So let's talk about that. Founder of the problem. One thing about that, the Ballon d'Or where they pick the best football player, right? As we call it, or soccer as they do here in America, right? And it's kind of one of those things whereby every year it's kind of try and come up with someone else, but we all know it's messy. It's a 10 or 15 year period where it's just silly, or maybe it's Ronaldo. So I feel, if you really, when we come to pick founder of the decade, founder of the blah, it's going to be Elon. But so let's just leave that to one side, right? And just I'll do this year, right? And then as it were, exclude him from the year because otherwise it gets boring. I do actually come out exactly the same place Jason did. Dario. And I do think it's not just product of the year, but also what I like, I find the stuff about unemployment to be bizarre, and I think he's wrong, and I'll come back to that. But that's the CEO as pontificator. But on the CEO as business executive making a difference, I think he played a very steady hand. And by kind of going for the sensible play and the sensible party, he, to make another Monty Python reference, because it's been that kind of day, the sensible party versus obviously the other party, he's cranked out I'm going to get profitable, I'm going to be sensible. And you look at, growth rate faster than OpenAI, valuation convergence, even after OpenAI's potential new around at 800. I think he's played a great hand. So if you owned those stocks at the start of the year, this is the stock you'd feel most excited about during the course of 2025 of the kind of mega caps, of the great big eight. So I give him, founder of the year again, which is different, as I say, than agreeing. I do not think we'll all be unemployed on Friday week. I think that's all nonsense, but we can come to that another day.
I'm going to add 2. One is a cheat because she's not quite the founder, but I think Gwynne Shotwell running SpaceX.
I totally agree.
I think it's going to be the biggest IPO of all time. I think her navigating pretty challenging times geopolitically with Elon's brand this year and navigating that so well and elegantly as CEO is exceptional.
I'll give you half my 4 out of 10 of my chips back to you for that.
Yeah, that's a good call.
I'll give you 4.
That's a good call.
So and then I'm going to surprise you with another.
Yeah.
If your job as a founder is to build enterprise value and return a shitload of cash to your investors, are we forgetting that Alex Wang delivered phenomenally for his investors and provided a great outcome to shareholders? Got to be up there.
And we got it. What do we get out of it? A video app? A video social network that no one used? Listen, respect 100 out of 100 to him, right? 100 out of 100. It's like founder dinner at night, talking about, at some posh London club, talking about how, the way to do it for myself. Yeah. In terms of impacting the world, got to be, not quite top decile. This is sort of a 4x TVPI founder in terms of world impact, but like a 10x a 20x in terms of returns, right? But world impact remains to be seen. The Machiavellian element of this pod, which should be the majority of it in a sense, that deserves to be in the above the fold, right?
Which, Gwen?
No, scale, Alex. I mean, just the sheer returns, taking advantage of a moment in time, right? You leave the keys with the rest of the team done to perfection. When we started this pod, I don't even remember what we called these, right? Pseudo hires. Rory was great at this.
Yeah, I remember.
Right?
There was that,
That age, it may be 2026, we don't see as many, but this was the best of the best of the playbook this year, right? Oh my God, talk about a moment in time and playing your cards right. I'm giving you 3 of my chips, Harry, on that one, because the moment but I don't know if he would make the list in 2026. He may, but Gwen may even, she may be the winner next year, right?
She will be the winner next year. Yeah. She has to be.
Can I add one for fun where I'm not an expert? You guys could chime in, but I really think, to me, a space I don't understand and thought was borderline ridiculous is Vlad at Robinhood. And Harry, obviously you've done this, because to go to dominate a market and then go multi-product the way they've done. And I know Rory makes the point, this is the whole point of fintech, right? Is to build an Uber app that does everything. But the execution level here, from revenue, from stock price up 220%, from just becoming almost a meme app for kids to becoming a trusted app for adults. I mean, JFC, I wish half my founders could execute half this playbook.
9 products do over 100 million in revenue.
Yeah, JFC. How many of our founders are talking about maybe getting another agent into market next year? Vlad would be like, I got 50 AI agents done over the holidays, guys, and they're all doing 100 million. Vlad for SaaS CEO, Vlad for SaaS, bring him into SaaS.
I like it as an addition. I can totally see that. Vlad is incredible. Google, Meta, Amazon, Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia. Buy one, short one for 2026.
Google, Nvidia. Just
you buy Google, you'd short Nvidia.
Yeah. Because at some point, if the CapEx cycle continues and we're all still spending, I mean, Nvidia does fine, but I don't know at this point, do they need continued acceleration of the CapEx cycle? Google has upside. If the CapEx tide goes out, Nvidia is going to be very heftily priced. And Google still has its business and can gradually roll out AI in a more measured fashion. Oddly enough, Microsoft and even more so Apple and definitely Amazon are kind of met in the middle on the AI cycle. They're not getting any lift from it. Oddly enough, even Microsoft, obviously their open AI investment, but they wisely, in my view, have pulled back from doing some of the marginal data center stuff. So they're like met in the middle. Apple's met in the middle to the downside. Amazon met in the middle to the downside. So you're kind of taking if you want to play how do you think about AI CapEx in the next couple of years, those are the 2 that are interesting.
Surely your Apple would be the bunny failed AI. I mean, Apple has failed across all elements in terms of integrating AI.
It has. And as yet, the stock's held up. And look, I own a lot and I sold some this year, right? To me, that's a different one. To me, that's one. The question there is, how long can you continue to trade at a premium multiple when your growth rate is less than 10%, albeit your EPS is growing more, right? And, you're trading at an all-time rev multiple or PE multiple high, and there's no catalyst. But I don't think it's an AI. I don't think that they'll sell a whole ton more if they had some great AI. I think they'll do marginally better. So, yeah. But I think there's risk in that stock. If I was just answering on a standalone basis, just looking objectively at what I did, I sold some of my Apple and I didn't sell any of my Google. That's Rory speaking with his facts.
You're a fool to invest against Nvidia for 2026. And I think you are arguably a fool to invest into Amazon in 2026 for a simple reason. I didn't say 2027 or 2028. It is not enough time for all this competition to come online. It is not enough time for everyone. Everyone's trying to do a TPU now, right? Their own version. Amazon's got theirs. Google, OpenAI has its own team. Everyone's trying to get out from the as Rory keeps pointing out, the massive Nvidia tax they think they're paying. It's just natural to design out your most expensive component. It's just natural. It ain't going to happen in 2026. There is not enough time. There's not enough time to produce enough GPUs and TPUs to get them into data centers that don't exist. And I'm not a public company expert, but I don't believe that public companies look as far into the future and as thoughtfully as we think. So I don't think we're going to have any down quarters unless AI stumbles. And I also don't think all the great things Amazon is going to do. Amazon stock's only up 2% this year. And I think they will be the underperformer next year for the same. There's just not enough time. But 2027, I don't know, like the pace but you just can't make semiconductors from scratch that compete with Nvidia in weeks. This is not software. Like you can't launch base 44. There's no base 44 of GPUs. It just doesn't exist.
What do you think the biggest risk? I think that's very thoughtful about it. I think the time, and I didn't like the question when Harry asked it, because I think the time, look, it's always the truth about shorting. That's why I don't do it, right? You can be right in conceptually and just wrong in timing, and then you're just definitionally wrong. Whereas if you're long, you just hold, and in the end, you can be right. It's why shorting is such an incredibly hard way to make money, and buying puts, which is basically the coward's way of shorting, which is what I would do, is an even shittier way to make money because you also pay more for the privilege of your bet, right? So again, Harry, back to your comment, I hate your questions. But to get a useful one out of it, Jason, what do you think is the bigger risk to NVIDIA? A, continued massive demand for compute, but other people introduce competing TPU products to our GPU products in the case of AMD, and it was market share erosion. Or B, erosion of demand such that the continued explosion in demand tapers off because the investments overall get cut back. Which of the two is the biggest risk?
Listen, I believe there's no risk other than some existential power risk, because the only real risk here that I can see, I'm only so smart, is that OpenAI can't give them $100 billion to buy their chips. But good news is NVIDIA is going to give them the $100 billion. So that risk off the table, right? OpenAI has taken the position that growth in compute, growth in GPUs, growth in just power is one-to-one correlated with revenue growth. They put this out. It's one-to-one. So they're like, yes, I need $100 billion, but I can prove to you, this is whether it's correlation or causation will be the debate. I can prove to you there's a one-to-one correlation that historically, if you give me $100 billion to buy compute, I will generate $100 billion in revenue, right? The market is going to solve for that problem in 2026. So I think everyone should feel pretty good about their 401ks.
I think you could be right. I mean, look, the breaking news in the last 24 hours was another $100 billion. Jeez, billion. Wow, I got to be careful there, right? For OpenAI, which obviously, I mean, Tomas had mentioned, keeping an eye on the Oracle CDS, swaps. My guess is a lot of the risk goes out of that deal if OpenAI gets another $100 billion. And you're right. This thing keeps, as long as the protagonists who believe it should keep going, keep getting money, it will keep going, right? And you're right, OpenAI is the prime protagonist, the prime believer in the more capex equals more intelligence. And if they got another $100 billion, you're right, bets are on for another 12 months, which would take you back to Harry's comment. I don't think you try and make a clever market timing position yet. The tell's not there.
Yeah, and we can make fun of these circular deals, and they should be made fun of. But NVIDIA is going to take its, almost $100 billion of free cash flow a year, and it's reinvesting it aggressively, thoughtfully, strategically. It wants other partners. It can't do it all on its own, but it is going to lubricate this all of this business model in 2026 as much as it can. It is aggressively that leaving that cash on the balance sheet does it no benefit.
We don't play that. We don't play that. G-Unit. We don't play around.